Oh, that came at me quick. We're
It's
back
the
at
same
it again.
intro we've been doing.
I know. I wasn't paying attention. Shocker there.
Well,
Oh my God. Here we are.
You're auditioning for the team, so
Here we are. Back to 500.
yes, big win.
Woohoo!
Big win. We have
Yep.
defeated the FAU Owls.
Hey, I told you. I told you about Costello, man. I told you. No, I didn't tell you anything. I just told you he was struggling. That was a big surprise for me to see him struggling so much. It's nice to see him. Looks like he's getting back on track a little bit. And the Bats look like they woke up a little bit today too against a really good FAU team. But let's look. Before I get into that, before I get into FSU,
they're up 19-3 the last I saw on UF today.
I think that the floor has to be yours, Vish, for a little while. And talk to me about the Duke series, and just talk to me about this team. And talk to me about
Blake Sears out for the year. They're all coming.
Yeah.
Surgery tomorrow.
I know. Come on. All right, go ahead, Vish. The floor is yours, my friend.
So, I mean, that was a culmination of all of the mistakes we've made all year. We've gotten away with it sometimes. You cannot play baseball like that and win games consistently. That should have been 2 out of 3 for sure, if not a sweep. And instead got swept. There's a lot of reasons for that, but part of it is just, I mean, we multiple times over the weekend, we just let fly balls land or misplayed a ball in foul territory and like gave up runs because of it. Like, you can't.
What's up, Heg? Damn. Okay. All right.
Well, you got. I
like it, bro.
People.
Right there.
So yeah, I mean the Sunday, it was Sunday. It was just completely mismanaged. I think JD is absolutely. But I think look, this is not the.
We use the words that CCH uses. We were like 3 outs away from winning the series.
Yeah, I mean 2 of them were walk-offs, but I mean the Sunday game, you're up 7-1.
Yeah.
And you blow the lead, and then you're up 10-7, you blow the lead again. But I think the frustrating thing there is, look, JD's got to acknowledge what this team is and what it isn't, and just, manage to what it is. If you put a pitcher in out of the bullpen and they have a good inning, leave them in.
Play to their
strength. Never know. Well, you never know. No, because it could be that the next game this guy sucks. That's just the way this is. But like right now, they're hitting the zone. They're making just until they get hit. And I think, he made a pitching change after a scoreless 7th inning, pulled Oliveira out and went to the pen behind him, and no one had it. And that's not surprising, given the way our bullpen has played this year. So, he went through multiple pitchers to blow 6 runs in an inning. A lot of walks, and he left guys in there as they were walking batters. And, and then he did the same thing in the 11th. It's just like, dude, like, are you going to manage the game or not? Like, manage your team. A lot of the righty-lefty matchup as if like all batters are created equal. We talked about this a lot, going from Perez to Scanlon. Scanlon's a much better player. And so even though you want to go righty-lefty, you have to acknowledge the roster you have. Perez is not a guy who should be playing.
Yeah, I mean, what's your
this what the CCH is saying is true. Like, one of the things that returned, the beginning of the year we saw less of this. We are striking out a shit ton. I think what was it? I want to say it was 10 out of the first 12 outs on the starting game were strikeouts. Like, you're not even putting pressure on the other team. Right. And sometimes you get guys on base, you make that productive out, you score. You strike out, you don't. Like, this is. It's not always getting a hit or even getting on base. It's moving the runner over. We've got to be the worst bunting team I've ever seen. We keep popping bunts up in the air.
Oh, my God.
I don't even – like, it's just like every fundamental you can think of. He didn't go 3 for 6. He didn't even get a hit, I don't think. He walked twice. Okay, he went 1 for – you don't get –
by the way,
walks don't count as at-bats, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, what's going on here?
Come on, man.
3 for 6. Get out of here, bro. He went 1 for 6 with 2 walks, or 1 for 4.
I think they hit him. I think they hit him once too. Okay. But anyway, it's bad plate discipline.
6.
It's bad plate discipline. Like, I don't see guys shortening up. All right, Billy Bean, but that's just not 3 for 6.
Yeah, it's not 3 for 6.
Not count when you walk.
It's 1 for 4 with 2 walks. Okay.
Yeah, no, some of this, like again, not really playing the game. It's almost like it's the team he wants to have versus the team he does have. Like, I mean, Sear broke his hand and it's probably out for the year trying to steal a base in a situation we shouldn't have been sending him. I mean, could you envision him breaking his hand? No, but why are you sending him? And so it's been quite a few of those things where, we're not. Yeah, no, I don't think he got a hit. I think he got 2 walks and hit by a pitch.
What are you doing? What are we doing, CCH?
Oh my God! Sack flies don't count as sacrifices don't count as that. Man, come on, dude.
Oh, come on, man. What are we doing here? What's
this
going
is not
on?
How,
here,
there's a way to, especially in baseball, there's a very, very specific way in which to keep score.
It's like saying he struck out, but the catcher dropped the ball and he got off base.
That's an out still.
What is he, 1 for 1?
No,
come on, man. What are we doing here?
There's a very specific
You're driving
way.
me crazy.
There's a very specific way. Ursul's actually played the last 2 games.
Speaking of good at bats, Eric Fernandez today, baby.
Yeah,
take that.
He got it there.
All right. Take that. All right. First base hit of the year. Let's go.
Yeah. I did notice, some of the changes in this Sunday. Urso played. No error from him.
Nice. Okay.
So we got the nod again today. That's a step in the right direction. I mean, the way that we lost the Friday game is this is how they scored in the 9th. It was pop-up foul, Torres dropped it, grounded at third, Cuvée threw into the dugout. Runner on second, they bunted, tried to get the lead runner at third, missed. So now first and third, intentional walk, single, game over.
It's tough to like that, man.
I mean, it's just like, dude, how many times does the pitcher have to get a guy out from the after? Like, popped up foul, we dropped the pop-up, grounder at third, threw into the dugout.
Right.
Like, the pitcher has gotten him out twice, and the guy's sitting on second. You can't win like that.
No,
and then meanwhile, we minimize runs by striking out and like I said, popping up bunts, doing all this stupid crap, that base running blunders. I can't think of a thing fundamentally we do well.
No, I mean, look.
You know what we have? All 3 of our starting pitchers are bringing it.
We spoke about that last week, right?
They're all pitching well, and that's why we're in these games. And
yeah, but we spoke about this ad nauseum. I feel like last week on fundamentals of baseball, right?
Yeah,
you gotta be fundamentally. You got to know fundamentals at this point.
You do, but I think so. I think part of it's on the player, but also, part of it's also shifting the lineup all the time and like get some consistency in there. Yeah. If Jimenez, like pick Jimenez or Urso. Urso's playing now, let him play. Right. Like you don't need to keep flipping him back and forth.
By the way, where was this CCH yesterday? Have you seen him? I mean, last week. Have you seen him on the chat right now? What's going on here? Baseball has a weird way of evening itself out. We were down 9-1 to Clemson, came back. I mean, last week you were like, tear it all down, close down the team, close down the program. Today you're a little bit different. You got a little bit of a different tune. Not sure why.
Also, was 9-1 Clemson? 9-1 was Virginia, right?
I don't even know anymore.
Clemson's the one where Zeal mowed him down, then we lost the last 2 games.
Yeah, Clemson with the 15 Ks. So
yeah.
I think it was Virginia. But anyways.
CCA is not on the stats. That's okay.
He was a little delirious today. Going on with
him. But anyway, so I guess Jazz, as a former, it was Virginia. But as someone who, played baseball at a high level, so we're 16-16 now. It's 6-9. I'm pretty sure that was Virginia that we had the shootout with, right? Who did Zeal shut down? Anyway,
no, Clemson. We hit a walk off in the first game. We won 3-2.
Yeah, that's right. Scanlon.
Yeah, and then the second game we lost 3-2 again. We came up.
Yeah, and then the third game they killed us. Yeah. Right. CCH, man, you're mixed up your Clemsons and your Virginias.
Virginia. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but anyway, so we will talk about this actually, Parrish. But first, I want to talk about this season. He's not getting in-season fired, but we will address that. It is, an elephant in the room. So, all right, you're sitting here at 16-16. You're now 6-9 in conference. You're heading to FSU. You're the manager. How do you get this team focused? Because look, they got to go win this series. They got to start taking actual big scalps now. Try to get back to 500 ACC play.
Right.
And, have enough big series. There's already 2 really good series wins. You got to add to that. You have a road series win against like FSU or whatever. That's going to add to your resume. You can be like, yeah, we're 500 in conference, but man, look at these series wins. That'll get you in maybe. The strength of schedule is going to be really high, so you don't have to worry about that. But if you lose this series, you're going to be 4 games under 500 at best. That's a long way back from there. Parrish, don't eat this weekend then because you're going to be vomiting. But if you're JD, look, we understand. Like, we're upset. I can't imagine what the players are saying. They know, like they're living this.
Well,
I think get them focused because again, they're in all of these. They should have won that Duke series.
Yeah.
I mean, if they had won 2 or 3 against Duke, we're having a totally different show right now.
Well, I think, look, at this point, if I'm the coach, and based off of the way that some of these games went, particularly that Sunday game, right? You have to kind of look at yourself and say, I got to do a better job also, right? I got to do a better job of putting these guys in a position to win. I know we talked a lot about last week and the week before. We talked a lot about the players that, fundamentals of baseball and yada, yada, yada. They've got to put it together. They've got to come out ready to play, and they've got to execute. But now you're starting to see a little bit of, the lack of execution now is starting to creep up on the coaching and coaching decisions. And I think what's happening is that JD, and you mentioned it, Vish, right? Like, he's not playing to what is working, right? He's overthinking a little bit, overanalyzing, using analytics maybe a little bit too much. We talked about it, you and I, this weekend, right? Like, he's trying to do the lefty-righty matchup too much, or the lefty-lefty, and so on. Like, he's trying to do too much,
right,
and it's backfiring on him, right? Sometimes, like you mentioned, man, I've coached and I've pitched at this, at a level where you got to have the confidence in your guy to go out there again for the next inning and do the same thing again, right? You got to have some more confidence, and I get it, right? Like, it's hard to have confidence when you've been struggling, but to be quite honest with you, the pitching staff has kind of put it together a little bit, especially obviously the starting pitching, right? So you're starting to see him have a little bit of a longer leash with the pitching staff, give them a little more confidence to kind of do their thing on the mound, especially the top 3 guys, right? Rafe and Gage and Herrick. You saw another solid outing from Eric. For the most part,
he was great. The only run he allowed was Costello fly ball to right field, lost it, landed a foot in front of him, bounced over his head, triple.
Right.
That was the only run. Technically not an error.
And so yeah. I mean, I know you're mentioning Fenster and all that stuff in the chat, and I just think this coaching staff as a whole, at the end of the day, the guy that's making the decisions is JD. Okay, and so he's the one that's looking at the bullpen and saying, all right, well, this guy pitched a great inning. I'm going to pull him now to for matchup purposes, for analytics purposes. Obviously you got to swing the bat a little bit better. You mentioned it, Vish. You're striking out way too much right now at a high clip right now, and you can't get anything done if you have the bat on your shoulder, or if you're swinging through pitches and not making contact. You got to be able to put the ball in play and make some things happen. And so it's a little bit of both, but I would say right now, I think that JD kind of needs to reel it in and not overthink too much on what he's doing out there. I think that you're starting to see some of these young guys on the mound kind of get better. They're starting to develop a little bit. They're starting to understand what they need to do up there. And you see it in Oliveira, had a solid inning. You saw Chris Diaz today, had a really good actually, he pitched 2 good innings, and then the third one is when he started getting, and they took him out in the third one. They brought in Senta, right? I think it was Senta.
Yeah.
They brought in Senta after that. So you're starting to see some of these younger guys starting to put it together a little bit. You still got Nick Roberts in the back end. Nick Robert in the back end. I'm not sure what's going on with Walters. I know he was a little injured. He got a little injured.
Something happened with his arm. Something happened with his arm in the first game.
Hopefully he's okay, because that's obviously a solid arm you're going to need in the back end. Also,
I will say even Robert, and this is one of my frustration, right? Like, he's a freshman. He's going to be inconsistent. So again, we've done a little bit of treating him like he's like Andrew Walters. Like, hey, let's bring him in on the 8 for the 6-out save. Like, this guy does. This is not.
He's not there yet.
He's got that high. He's got that high ceiling, right? He could get there. He's a true freshman. He's not Andrew Walters. Like, you're not going to just get him to shut the door. Right. If you've got a reliever in there that's pitching well, just write him. Yeah. Like, Robert is not one you do that. So it's just it is. Look, there's a bunch of pitchers that are pitching okay. The starters have been great.
I don't necessarily agree with this last statement. I mean, if we go back to old Geno habits, and we're ranked 6th and 9th respectively the last couple of years. So
yeah, and I think so. This is something I commented on Twitter, and people were like going at me, and I'm like, I'm just stating facts, man. I don't know what we want to do. I think it was. I wrote 6th, but I think it was actually 5th. I got to go look, but that was by the committee, and 9th in the country. Going into the postseason, we're all pissed.
We're a young team, man. We're a young team.
We're all pissed at how the postseasons ended the last 2 years. But this was a top 10 team through the regular season. We lost 20 games last year. We've lost 16 already. Yeah. But it's very so. I mean, when you're saying like if we do the Geno, like I don't know. Geno probably also saw a rebuild here, which is probably one of the reasons he was like, I don't have the stomach.
Yeah, we're not a great base running team. I will agree with that. I don't know if we have great base runners, and I think that's a bit of a
no. I'm not saying Geno was perfect, but I do think obviously he's a lot more experienced, and I think that helped. Obviously, we lost a lot of talent off of last year's team, and I think he knew. I think part of his brother obviously passed away. Like there was a lot of stuff going on in his life. And I think one of the reasons though, I'm sure he's like, okay, now's the time to leave is again, he was not fired and there's no way anyone would have fired him. We don't fire someone off 2 top 10 seasons in a row. It's just like, he knew the rebuild was coming. So JD is tasked with something much more difficult than what Geno had last year. I think it's fine to acknowledge that. And yes, there's freshmen and all that, but where, Costello is the one that lost the Clemson series by not picking up the third base coach coming around the corner.
Right.
That's not a freshman.
Yeah.
Right. And there's got to be some level of accountability on the coaching staff as well. Right. It's a mixture. So I guess, as we kind of wrap things up here. So again, for those that aren't aware, the FSU series is Thursday to Saturday. So the first game is on Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday. So that is Jason Torres dropped how many pop-ups last weekend? It's not just the freshman.
Yeah. He also went like 2 for 10 the whole week.
Yeah, and we feel bunts. We airmail them. It's everyone. Everyone's contributing. Which is part of the problem. It's not like it's
but
just one.
You say freshman, and it is true to a certain degree, but that's because the team it's around freshmen and sophomores, right? Already young guys. This team is a young team, and they're taking some time to put it together. And look, JD's got to do a way better job.
So a couple of more things. Just to recap for everyone before we get out here, FSU series is Thursday to Saturday. Look, the Canes need to win some games. They cannot, even if they got to somehow find a way to win that series. I don't know how they're going to do that, but they got to do that. Get the ship righted. I mean, otherwise, obviously, they got to make the ACC tournament to even win it, to make it in that direction. But anyway, all right, one question for you, and we'll talk about JD on the hot seat or not, and then get out of here. So Sear's gone for the year, it looks like. Definitely not going to be back anytime soon. It's supposed to have surgery tomorrow. What is your lineup now?
Well, I think you still have to.
Well, let's just stipulate. I think we both agreed should be Scanlon. I think we both agreed JD's going to platoon him with Perez, whatever. So we got Torres, Dorian, Cuvée locked in.
Yeah.
Okay, so who do you have at short right now?
I think you got to go with Urso right now.
Yeah, I agree.
I just feel based off of experience and he's played a lot of games there. And we forget that he led all Division II in doubles last year. So if he can put it together and kind of get it going again, I think he's probably your best bet there. I just think from an experience standpoint, he's the guy that I'd ride right now is JD Urso.
And then across the outfield?
in the outfield. I think in center field right now, you're getting some good at bats, and you're getting some good games from Jacoby Long. So I
Yeah,
think
I
you got
think
to
you
keep
stick
him
with
back
him.
there.
Yeah.
I still think that you've got an opportunity that if Villegas gets hot in that top of the lineup, that he's dangerous up there, right? And he's still a really good defender. I know he has his issues every once in a while,
No,
but
but he's a plus defender.
he's definitely a plus guy out there. So maybe put him at left field. And I think again, if you don't want to talk about how young this team is and that you need some leaders and you need some young older guys out there, I think you got to try to ride Costello as well, right field.
Yeah,
Especially lately,
yeah.
you know,
That
last
is
2 games, 7 hits, not bad.
That's my lineup.
That's your lineup
as well. And then who's your DH?
My DH, this is the tough one, and this is the one that I go back and forth with in my mind. But I think I'm going to stick with Carrier right now.
I think you have to because I don't like any of the other bats on this team.
He has he's actually hit a lot better.
Yeah, he's coming up lately. But frankly, the idea that he can. All right, you're gonna hate this, but he's the Alex Terrell. He might get a hold of one, and you know what? The other alternatives are not. No, it's very hit or miss.
It is.
But you know what? We're shallow on hitting talent at this point. Like there's no one else. I'm looking at the rest of the roster. I don't know who else do I want in there. I wouldn't rather have Kulikowski or something. I'd rather have
right. No, I'm gonna go with Carey. Behind the dish, I think it's Scanlon or bust. Right? I'll tell you what. Believe it or not, I'm starting to like Goitia as a backup to Scanlon instead of.
I think JD's going down with this Perez ship. I don't think there's anything that he can do to lose that job against lefties.
It's Scanlon for me though. They're obviously Cuvée, and then at short we already talked about Dorian.
Yeah. Well, CCH. So we can't keep saying the freshmen are making all the mistake, and then we have a veteran backup and not play him.
Right.
Sometimes it's got to be accountability.
Yeah. All right, you literally just said that Jimenez is the cause for a lot of the errors.
So then put Urso in, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we have It's one of the few positions we do. I mean, none of them are playing well, but we do have an option. All right, and then on JD, so he's obviously not going to get fired in the middle of this year. Do you think his job's in danger at all this year?
No, I think I think they give him another year at least.
I think so too.
But he's got to show some promise down the last 20 games or so. He's got to be able to show some progression and some development of some of the.
Exactly. That's where I'm at. Like, I think
if he completely loses this team, all bets are off.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at. We're more than likely going to miss the postseason, but there's different ways to do that.
Right.
If you end up with 8 ACC wins, like you said, all bets are off. Like I think that amount of losing is a whole different ball game. Oh boy, we're not doing this again, are we?
I'm not doing it again.
Okay, yeah, we're not doing that again, man.
Yeah, we're not. FSU.
Let's just put it this way: Sear breaking his hand going to second might have been the last time he puts that jersey on. If you're being a pessimist, like if we crater this season, he's going to have options. Does he want to come back to this?
I agree.
Like, I mean, he's not the only one that's going to have that question. Cuvée will. Torres is on the Golden Spikes list. These guys are all coveted. We need to show them something to get them to stay. No one wants to play on a team that can't even make the regionals.
Correct. You got to be able to win. That's what cures everything.
Only a Sith Lord talks in absolutes.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining the show. We'll be back.
Again, it's Thursday to Saturday this series. So it's not the full weekend series. And I guess we'll be back probably Tuesday. I got to check when there's another Thursday series, but we'll be back in on Tuesday. Yes, and CCH, I'm about to ban you from the chat, man. All right.
I can't wait anymore.
He's too up and down. We're the worst team, but next year. It's like this. It's like that major league, like the fucking fans.
I'm done with you.
These guys stink. Oh yeah, but they're totally gonna win, right? Yeah. Anyway, we'll be back. We'll be back next week. Thanks, everyone.